bring him in after map number 1. When they lose, they win the next 2, right? His Mercy looked pretty good. I think it's more for his Brigitte. And now they're going to put him on DPS here to try and close the series out.
I mean, what a map to do it on. This historically, not a great map for the Florida Mayhem anyway. Houston, Florida, to be fair, it's not, it's not exactly been a map that they played the same meta on over and over again, but even last year it was kind of a weaker point for them. Temple of Anubis isn't great for either monster, in fairness. But yeah, you feel like you get a little bit of a teaser as to what we can expect Jake to be playing. Bearing in mind, he's known for many other DPS than just the Junkrat. It's just that he was particularly, I'm going to be diplomatic here, he was particularly impactful on the Junkrat on many different occasions. It was really, I remember the old Horizon Lunar Colony matches, Matt, with Jake on defense there. It was
He's up nasty. In the Raptors, just launching them down, on the Junkrat. So the double shield look for the Outlaws, Juby in for the Mercy. So we still haven't really kind of figured out, Juby in to play Mercy here. We saw Jake in, we saw him play a ton of Mercy. Maybe they kind of thought well, if we want to play the break, he can go towards it. What do the Mayhem decide to run when they see this? Do they try and change anything up? The Junkrat, we haven't really seen Junkrat being played on this in a while. It's also a way, with the Florida composition, so the Junkrat will get a ton of value with, the halts come through and OG tries to dive in, but here through the choke, spamming, not a ton.
Right, here's the dive. So let's see if there's some more value to be gained from the Junkrat now as the fight comes to the Outlaws. And that's a lot of poke damage, man. BQB gets caught there. Piggy's just throwing hyperspheres and bouncing him. It's not really anything out of the ordinary.
Well, Sigma is very difficult to push chokes against, right? He just has infinite ammo, just keeps spamming it. Orisa, sometimes it feels like she does. Echo does a ton of damage with just primary and sticky bombs, and Junkrat. This is a lot of damage. What happens when you get an amp matrix here too?
I'm convinced this is fan service to some degree. Obviously, it's tough for Jake to really do much about Yaki. Obviously, that's not his job, really. Dealing with the tanks is more than enough. And the Mayhem are a little bit frazzled. You can see they're a little bit unsure about where they even start.
It's just
trying
weird.
To break down this setup.
Nobody else is playing. Double shield Junkrat Echo on defense on Anubis. So this will be an Anubis on the OG, trying to take this top platform.
Great immortality field. Perfect timing. Piggy's going to be back to health. Dreamer does get hit with a biter grenade, and BQB goes down to Jake. He positions towards the back of the point, and the grenades roll in.
I was going to say, that had to be long range. Jake was on the point, and BQB's out by the choke. I think he did have a mine up on the wall, behind him. Maybe just decided to blow it up and got the kill from it. Otherwise, just spamming over the top, coming up with the kills. That's what Junkrat's about, right? You just keep spamming and spamming and spamming.
Yeah, I think there's, when we mythologize these kind of concepts in the league, like Jake's Junkrat, for example, there's a risk of it becoming a bit of a meme, right? As in a joke, as in haha, not actually good. No, it was legitimately very, very good, and that's why it was such a famous idea. Jake is extremely good on the Junkrat and very good at punishing poor positioning. He has a Riptire on the way if he needs it, but he may not. OG's down and Dante's brought back into the fight. Yaki has nowhere to go right now. No way to get really gravitic flux because he's sat on the low ground and there's a shield. So the Mayhem are throwing good ultimate after bad and getting very little for it.
And you think you can win a fight with a Tire, right? Tire just getting an early pick. And then you have Duplicate, Supercharger, and Matrix. You're in a really good spot here if you're the Outlaws.
The Nano, it has to be a Nano boost here to save things. Dante goes down to Yaki, so good start. That Riptire can definitely get at least a kill. What's Jake looking for here, though? They see me rolling, they hating.
I didn't see them.
Okay, gets it. Okay, there it is. Okay, wow, he gets 2. That's huge. Look at the patience as well.
Why'd they shoot?
I think he saw them anyway. I don't know if that's going to be enough to save the fight either way. Dreamer coming to the point. Going to use a hold on Slime, no follow-up there. The upside is Crimzo and 2 tanks are here. So the staying power is definitely there in spades for the Outlaws. And Dante has a duplicate. This is looking very good for Houston, Matt. Yaki disintegrates.
Both players for the Florida Mayhem, I think it was BQB and Gangnam Jin, were sitting around the corner, and Jake only turns the Tire, I think, when BQB jumps on top and fires a shot. Otherwise,
Maybe.
he was just going. No, I mean, you go back and watch that. He was just rolling straight away. They were sat in that corner for a while. I mean,
Matt is adamant in believing that that was an error from the Florida Mayhem. Personally, I'm fine with that. I can get on board with that, Matthew. No worries. Nano boost here for Junkrat in there. I don't think he got to use it in the last fight, so it's going to have to be here. Yaki's going to fly around, but OG gets cut down already. Dante's able to find the tank first. It has to be resurrected. Self-destruct. Dreamer just throws the shield down. Sideshow's hairline keeps him alive once more. Slime's going to be removed by Crimzo. Dante with a free self-destruct, but Bob is in his way. Quite the bouncer, but Slime's gone down. OG's in trouble. Focusing beam, not much good against that immortality field, but still, Gargoyle is desuited. This isn't over yet for the Outlaws. They still need to finish this off properly, but getting rid of OG gets them on the way. Looking for Gangnam Zim, and that'll do it, the Outlaws. What a hold! Jake on the Junkrat. What a throwback. And what an effective play.
Jake with a smile in the chat. Some XDs is, all right, Florida to force the game 5. We got to get a full hold here on Anubis. It's Dante the guy. Oh, that's so funny.
I mean, wouldn't you be in all chat after a round like that, Matt? Okay, so first of all,
I'm in all chat regardless. Yeah, whether I don't have a good round or not, I'm there. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it. If you're gonna BM, look, everybody out there, if you're gonna trash talk a little bit, have some fun when you're up, you got to keep it going when you're down. Like you can't just ride the high, right? You gotta be that all the time. You know, if you're gonna be, that kind of fighting words every once in a while. Okay. Is this the tire potentially? They were so they're in this corner most of the time. Yeah, because I was looking at the map. I was like, where are these players? The tire's on the other side of the wall. They don't see him. Like Jake turns it right over this wall and does not see it. And then he starts shooting at it right there. Oh. He starts shooting at it and he turns around. That's what I was saying. Yeah, they totally gave up their position there. I mean, maybe he thought he could finish the tire off before. But yeah, no, they were hiding there for so long. The tire rolled right by them. He did not see them until the fire came out.
One bit of trigger discipline, and it would have been a completely different story. VQB, his nerve breaks at the worst possible moment.
I mean, Jake almost hit him with the tire.
Yeah, he didn't see it, but we didn't see it. I didn't see it. So,
rush composition here for the Outlaws. This is just trying to force a fight on the point. If they can get around the point to where the health pack is and just kind of linger around there, you'll get tons of healing with the Moira. Looks like they're going to go in pretty far, though. They're actually going to force them towards their Mega. Interesting.
All right, Jake gets the date with the Battle Cow, maybe. He's lactose intolerant. Either way, OG's going to get taken down, so it's a trade. One less DPS right now for the Houston Outlaws. But, I mean, they're in a great spot here. This is what their composition wants to do. They've got the Moira up close, and yeah, they get rid of BQB. They're just going to keep running. Sticky bombs do connect for Yaki, and a good focusing beam here. Looks like when the fight gets down and dirty, the Mayhem are ready to tango. But that coalescence is not something you can just stand in. And it looks like Yaki found out the hard way.
Well, I was going to say, is there enough cleanup here to now get onto the point and take it? You're going to have Slime come back.
I can translate.
He'll be in position to get a touch.
Jake just repeating to himself, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Just that common way to keep himself calm now on that Reaper. BKB down. All right, so Dante has fallen, but really you have a Reaper on the point. The Outlaws might have had a trade of players, but they have a huge advantage in terms of what their comp wants to do. And, well, see you later, Gargoyle. Wow. You are not allowed to participate in this fight or the rest of this series. And the Houston Outlaws, they bring the magic back. Sometimes it's more than just fan service or nostalgia. Sometimes it's just a good play.
I'm telling you, man, Jake was a huge impact player in this series, whether it was on the support, bringing him into play Mercy, or the Junkrat here at the end. It's quite funny. The play of the game is that Junkrat tire. As soon as it takes one lick of damage, he turns around and blows it up. So, crazy series today. Like, I don't think anyone expected this, to have the Florida Mayhem win map number 1, and then Jake come in, play 2 maps of support, a map of DPS, and the Outlaws just roll. It's just another look from Houston. One thing they did today that they didn't do the other day is they also left Dreamer in the entire series. Yesterday they tried to bring in Junggu for a map, and they tried to move around a bit. Jake came in, then out. This time they, outside of Jake and Juby, they solidified on what looks to be a roster.
Matt, you've been around a while. You're old. You're older than me, at least. How often have you seen it in esports where a player he retired, right? Retires, goes and becomes a caster, which is definitely where you go when you're washed, as you would know. And then he goes back to being a player and has this revival. Have you ever seen this from any other individuals through your career?
Not really, but I also think when Jake retired, he wasn't bad. I think that's the thing. Some players retire and, they're just kind of done. I think it was clear, Jake could still, play at that level. So I think it's a little bit different. When Jake retired, Jake was still a player who could, vie for a starting spot on a team or at least be in the rotation. And then now that, the one thing that everybody always spoke highly about of Jake is just, his, shot calling, his knowledge about the game. Now more willing to play things like support. You have a huge opportunity to play and be meaningful in that type of role. So I'm not surprised, really, in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a great example, though, of a player who has so much more to offer, goes and does his thing for a little bit and realizes maybe, now is an opportunity to not only be a leader, contribute to strategic discussions, which is, I think the impression that we got about his being brought into the team, but also stands still shoulder to shoulder with some of the best DPS players in the world. Yeah, in somewhat of a niche here, but you can just see how much he's constantly talking, and there's constantly something being said there. The Outlaws were having a little bit of back and forth about how the communication was working on Dorado. Right? We got a chance to listen in and sort of hear how they were managing that. Jake gets thrown in there, of course, this veteran presence, someone who really understands the game strategically and helps him get across the line. I know it's ironic because he played Junkrat, we talk match strategy, but really it worked out beautifully. Our player of the match, though, Matt, presented by Xfinity today is, it's got to go to Dante. There's obviously the temptation to give it to Jake because recency bias is definitely a real thing, and he has a huge last map, but this Echo play is astonishing. And the storyline for us was that you can't ban Dante, you can't, no hero pool can claim enough of his, his selection to sort of make him useless. And the guy is just incredible. One of the most versatile, flexible DPS players in the world.
Yeah, his Echo was extremely impactful today, especially at times where I know Happy wasn't getting the best out of a Widowmaker battle or an Ashe long-range battle. It seemed like time after time Dante was able to open these fights or contribute in these fights. 2-3 pickoffs, then a duplicate, and being able to stall it out, keep it going for the Outlaws. He's a huge player in NA in terms of the DPS, one of the best in the league without question. Seeing him on the Echo and knowing that there's heroes that you can play at a high level like Tracer and Sombra not in the pool, this is a good sign for the Outlaws that you're able to see him play another hero. We know he's very good at Echo, but seeing this, though, a really good sign for the Outlaws.
And Dante actually, I think he went public and said in an interview that one of his personal pursuits after that sort of really weak first season for San Francisco when he was on that roster was to try and learn everything, just play everything, just become good at as many of those heroes, not just DPS heroes, as he possibly could. Echo is a hero made specifically for that kind of player, and you don't come out of this kind of matchup against Yaki and BQB without some bruises, right? The stats are not the cleanest. He doesn't have the least deaths ever because he's going up against world-class players there. We talked about how many players were in the top 10, right? Dante was the only DPS player not in the top 10 of Watson's power rankings. And there we have it. He comes out as player of the match. That was insane stuff. I cannot wait for an interview. Obviously, Jake had a little bit to say in match chat, and so we should. I can't wait to hear some more words from the victor himself in just a moment.